All right, so I've only done this filter change once, and I think part of the problem that people are having getting this filter out, especially with the knee airbag where you can't really see what you're doing at all. I can't even see the filter. All I'm doing is completely by feel. This is the side that faces outward from the filter housing, and you can't just, it's very rigid. It's very rigid cardboard, and so you can't really pull it out this way, and really the whole thing wants to collapse inwards. So I think I've only taken it out one time, and what I did was I couldn't see it. I took a pry tool and I just went by feel and pushed it in, pulled it out, and then I was able to top out. And then I did the same thing with the bottom, put my finger on there, pushed it up, and then pulled it out. So these little things right here are actually good for, the ends are good for grabbing, trying to grab it out of there. And once it's out of there, it won't go back in because it'll expand. So that's really the trick, is to try to grab the, fold it under, pull it out, and then grab these things. I think this time what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to release the bottom first. I'll put the pry tool in, put the either a little fork or my little pry tool in there and push it in, pull it out, and then I can slowly start pulling it down like this out of the housing. You might be able to get away with pushing, we'll say this is in the housing, you might be able to get away with pushing in on the center a little bit to collapse it, to make the top drop down enough we can get it. So there are a few different things you can try. I think what I would do is I'd try pushing it on the center first to collapse it, then grabbing the bottom and pulling it out. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is move your seat, the passenger front seat, all the way back. You'll want to take out, I think there are 7 screws to remove. Outside corner there, outside corner right there. Open the glove compartment. You have one on the top right there, center, and right side. And then you have 2 further back, right there, and right there. And those are all Torx heads T20. To me, it only matters when you're reinstalling it. I would do these 2 back ones first. Like always, the camera keeps shifting away. I can't get my tripod in here. As I started saying, when you're reinstalling these, I would put the 2 furthest ones in, the 2 further screws in first. Because if one of those happens to drop behind there, you'll have to take the whole thing apart again. So if you've already put all the screws on except those 2, and then the last one you put on falls behind there, there's no way of retrieving it without removing the entire glove compartment. And so it's easier if you use a glove to release this corner. So basically I just use my left gloved hand and I flex outward. And that pops the clip, that already pops the clip, so then it's done. And then on the other side, it's basically the same thing. I just use my finger and pull it out a little bit, and now that's released. If you're worried about scuffing, oh, I hate this light, this draw light won't stay put. If you're worried about scuffing this stuff, put something on it so you don't end up having this sharp plastic scrape against it. All right, so right now the whole assembly is fairly loose. I really don't want to do this with one hand though, because I don't want to have something fall off and release that corner. And again, the camera keeps shutting off on me, so I better do this again. Let the whole thing drop forward. I disconnect the light from the little, can I see, am I in them? Yeah. Disconnect the light from this little connector right here. What you need to do in this connector is just squeeze on the very back part and then pull it out straight. So anyway, now the glove compartment's out of there. You'll be grateful right there. It's not. It's actually way back in this area. And there isn't much room. And I can't even get a camera angle on to show it right now with this thing. I have to actually have the we'll kind of go in like this. And there's the bottom release clip right there. And there's the top. And I can't find a way to get a camera on there to really show what's going on because the filter's gonna be in the way, my hands will be in the way, my arms will be in the way, so I'll keep the camera here to try to show what's going on. Of course, I accidentally hit the off button when I was pulling it down. So the cover just dropped, the cover dropped down. Where is it? What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try to go through from the bottom first. And just using a little cocktail fork. The biggest thing is getting whatever you're using in there to initially get the start. Now what you can do is you should take your right hand and pull down on the filter a little bit to release the top. And so now that's actually coming out fairly easily, and I'm not even sure why I'm changing it because it looks very clean right now. Now the camera's going to be in the way, so I'll have to go around the camera. So it's not going to be as pretty of a... And that's it. And this is from a year ago. A few pieces of stuff, and they're not a lot. So I'm pretty sure there's no way I'm going to be able to show this, but because I don't have to move the light out of the way and stuff like that. So I'm just going to send in my... I'm using the narrowest attachment on my wet dry vac. You know, just go up there and shove it into the cavity and go up and down a few times and go as deep as I can. So what I do is I roll the edges, insert it into the cabin, into the housing, let it pop open, and then I take my hands and slowly start feeding it top and bottom until it's all the way in. Then when it gets to the other part, I fold in the ends again, tuck it inside, and it's done. And then they just release and everything's good to go. All right, so the lid is easy to put on. Just, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a very contorted position getting in here. So take your top finger to guide the top and tab in there, let it click shut. Use your top finger to see if you can pull it out. If you can't, and you're good to go. And that's it, and that's in there. These little corners right here, these little pins, they have a little metal thing on the sides, and they get pushed into those slots. I better just take the camera off. So that thing right, each side has one, has a little metal clip on both sides, retaining spring, whatever you want to call it. Those things get pushed into, where am I here? They get pushed into those slots right there, and they clip into place and hold in place. So there's one on each side. On top. So again, be conscious, be aware of the. You have to kind of put the left side up first. Lift the left side, right side up. Make sure you're not crimping your wire. Go ahead and reclip your light wire. That's all clipped in right now. So the light is clipped back in. Push that in. Push back on the box a little bit. Push up on this corner part. Push up on the right part. And that one's set in place. And that one's set in place. Make sure you don't cross thread it. And so I get with these back ones, you know, push the whole frame back, snug these up a little bit, not too super tight, just a little bit to keep all the everything relatively in place. Because now you want to make sure that these holes are lined up. Because if these holes aren't lined up correctly, your glove compartment is going to close poorly. Make sure everything snaps in place. Again, take your time. Use a couple of fingers to make sure it's not being cross-threaded. I'll start all the ones in the front. These are the, I mean, they're all crucial, but these are really crucial. Because if you don't do these right, your glove box isn't going to shut correctly. It won't look flush. It'll look like, you know, the one video I saw on YouTube where the guy's box is all messed up. Nothing is aligned correctly in what he's doing. All right, so this is the last one. So for the final one, what I want to do is I want to push the box up, push the whole inside frame up as I'm tightening. I don't want to have the screws drawn in. These are only going into plastic, and you don't want to over tighten them, and you don't want the stress of the screws having to draw in the flange. And just when you feel it's tight, don't go anymore. Just keep it snug. Yeah, now it's a good alignment. All right, nice and smooth. Light doesn't need to work right now. And job well done. Man, and I'm sweating though. It took 15 minutes. And so initially this was the tool I used the first time I did it. It actually is easier to use this thing, but the handle kind of gets bulky when you're trying to maneuver in that small area. So I ended up using, I'm not sure if this is called a cocktail fork or a shrimp fork or something. It's really tiny, but it worked really well because, you know, if I needed to, I could have bent the tines a little bit to give it more of a grab. An awkward position to get into sideways, you know, your legs are hanging, you know, your body is half in and half out of the car, and you're trying to turn your arms the other way from where your body is positioned. So it's a really awkward, convoluted, difficult process getting in there. As long as you have a little bit of patience, take a deep breath, maybe even have a fan blowing from the driver's seat onto you or something. Right now, I actually have the garage door closed. It's really hot in here, so that's probably part of why I'm sweating right now, because there's no ventilation in here at all. I don't know why I didn't open the garage, but anyway, that's the process. This is a 2021 Murano, and has the knee airbag right there, which makes it a lot more difficult to do things. And just my own opinion, I won't use frame again next time. I'll go back to using STP. STP seems to be better quality. The frame has a fold missing on the top that's torn right there. And I looked at all the other ones in different stores, they're all the same. There's a white tissue, and this used to be a white filter. So it has gotten dusty over the past 11.5 months. So it probably would be a good idea to change it, even though there's light coming through it. Because obviously it's picking up a lot of pollen and fine dust and whatnot. So it probably is worth replacing it every year.